Welcome, Shreya.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the warm welcome. And I'm glad that we are here. And if I'm able to share any of my experiences, my tips, and my past learnings with the rest of the rest of the people here who have joined us, I'll be happy to do that. So keep your questions coming, and I hope we are able to cover those in the end.
Great. So, before we start with the agenda, for the people who have joined the session for the first time, I would like to introduce you guys to our Remote Revolution series. So, at Uplers, our mission is to streamline the hiring process, making it reliable, easy, and fast. And therefore, Remote Revolution is an initiative wherein we invite speakers from top notch companies like Twilio, GitLab, Atlassian, BrowserStack, and many more to share their insights on how these remote companies hire, their process, culture, values, interview tips, and remote administrates required by global brands. So, our mission around this initiative is to upskill you guys to get a job in a top remote brand. So, moving forward to the session agenda, to begin with, Shreya will talk us about her career journey, how she started off in the field of product and her evolution to the leadership position. She'll talk about her experience and her role at SteerHealth. Moving on to explore SteerHealth as an organization, what it does, etc., its culture, values, and everything. Following that, we'll explore the intricate hiring process and we'll address the critical questions: what skills does it take not only to succeed at SteerHealth but also to stand out during the selection process at any global brand. So, coming back to the session this evening, let's begin with Shreya. Shreya, tell us something about your career, your role at Steer Health. So, over to you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for giving the overview of the agenda. Great. I'll share a bit about my past experience also and currently what I'm doing. I'll just switch the slide to the next one here. Yes. So all as Divya also shared, I have almost 8 to 10 years of experience now in the tech space, and I've worked with multiple industries from different regions as well. I've worked with companies from the Western world, the Americas, and then also with Australian companies, with the Southeast Asian companies, and of course with Indian companies as well. Also with European companies, so covered quite many continents by now, and also across multiple industries. So this actually came as a result of working with a services company. So that's where my career began. I worked in a company where we were working on new tech products, and there used to be clients which they used to come up with new ideas on from different backgrounds and wanted to make tech solutions for the problems they were working on. So due to that, I was able to talk to a lot of people, entrepreneurs, big companies, small companies, all of those types of organizations. And I got a lot of exposure about how a tech product and why a tech product is made and how it's made successful. So that's how my career started. And then when I got a little bit more into that, I loved combining technology with impact related sectors. And then I started focusing more on in depth into these different sectors, which is education and then now healthcare as well. I started as a business analyst, and that was a role I think that is very special to me. So for those who are just starting off, I highly recommend this role because you are able to get into a lot of different industries, a lot of different experiences because of this, and you also get insights into both the sides. What is the business need and what is the tech solution for it. So I started there, and then I shifted, slowly into project and product management as well. And right now, I am leading the product at SteerHealth, which is I'll talk a little bit about more about that too. It's into B2B healthcare, and in the past, I have worked with Domino's. I've worked with Excel Axiata, which is something like Airtel in Indonesia, and I've worked with Labster as well, which is a virtual simulations lab for science students. And there I have been mostly a product management expert into project management also, and remotely, because this is I think a special series by Uplers, which is remote focused work. And for that I've been working for the last 5, or I think a little bit more than that, 5 years or so. And at personal level, I love to travel, I love to learn new cultures, and I love to respect them also, all while not giving up on my career, because I love my career as well. So I try to balance all of it, and that's I think more or less about me.
That's really great. Uh, That's absolutely inspiring. And thank you, Shreya, for illuminating us with your incredible journey. And after hearing your transformative story, I am certain our audience is eager to delve deeper into the world of steer health, understanding its values, its intricacies of its hiring process, and everything. But before we get there, a foundational step for anyone considering joining a new workplace is gaining insight into the organization itself, its market presence, culture, and mission. So, tell us something about SteerHealth. What drives the organization and its purpose?
Yes, I think I'll give a little context about what is steer health before that and how we are able to achieve what we are doing with the culture. Culture is so super important. And yes, to let you know a little bit about steer health, we are a B2B SaaS company. And I want to break this down even further. B2B means that we are a business and we provide our services and our product to other businesses. So it's not directly to the consumer, it's to the businesses. And then we are a SaaS company, which means that we make one product which can be used by multiple other clients of ours, right? And then it's into the US health tech space. And let me tell you, this is US health tech was something super new to me. I had worked briefly into healthcare, but not in depth. And it took me almost, I would say, 3 to 4 months to get a grasp of everything related to US healthcare because it has its own unique nuances. So it was a nice journey learning that too. And Steer Health currently caters clients of small to medium-sized healthcare organizations, which means, hospitals and a group of hospitals, which is also called, healthcare groups as well, and then also medical groups, and then clinics also, which come under the small sized healthcare organization. And then we also work with surgical centers, with med spas. Those are different types of clients we have. And currently, we have almost 400 organizations working with Steer Health, and they are our clients, which covers almost 25,000 to 30,000 healthcare providers, which means doctors or other staff members, all of those, and it has touched to almost, I think, more than 20 million patients as we speak. So it's a huge impact the small team is making. The small group of people that we are almost like 50 people right now, and we are reaching almost 25 million patients, which is really nice. What we do in brief is that we help the leadership of the healthcare organizations in creating revenue, and then also administration. We help by automating a lot of the manual work that they do. And finally, we also help patients. Of course, they are kind of indirect, but a very important stakeholder for Steer Health. So we want to give them the premium experience. The patients are the end stakeholders here, and that's why Steer Health exists. So we make sure that they get easy access to healthcare, and they also get very premium access, very premium experience. And as a product leader at Steer Health, I want to also share that we have almost like 25 to 30 mini products within Steer under the umbrella of Steer Health. So these products can work independently, also maybe in combination with each other, and that's how overall it works. Yes, maybe we can maybe play this quick video to share about Steer Health, and maybe this is actually from our website itself, but it can give you an overview of what all we do. The solutions are under for growth. Growth means creating revenue of the organizations, giving patients good experiences and whatnot. So all of this Steer Notes is a recent product we just launched, which maybe I can just give an example of the products we do. So Steer Notes is a product in which, let's say, you are a doctor and I'm your patient there. So let's say Divya is the doctor and she's taking notes for my condition, and what is the assessment for my condition. So you can speak it out instead of taking literally the notes, and then our system will transcribe it into the text format, and then also input it into the EHR, which is the electronic health record system. So our product is able to do that. This is just a new launch by us, and there are so many more products under Steer Health that are very innovative and very helpful to the staff, to the patients, everybody. I hope
Great.
that gives an
Yes,
idea
yes.
about what is Steer Health.
Yes, yes. I think we can move to the next slide. Yes.
Yes, so here you can see that mostly, what is broken in the healthcare system is that the brevity of it is only understood by the patients, I would say. The staff members, of course, they understand, but the patients, again, as the end users here, they're able to understand what could go wrong. And that's why our system works from end to end, like from the very starting point where the patients start with the access, where they want to get connected with the healthcare provider. It starts right there, and it towards the end, even when they get discharged and when they get done with their treatment, also we make sure that we are helping them with the monitoring of their health, right? So it works end to end. You can see there are multiple checkpoints in between the staff members and the patients, and that's how the product covers everything, from, let's say, triage and symptom checking, what might be happening to the patients based on their symptoms. Then how do we find the right provider for them? Then how do we do the scheduling for that patient with the right provider? And then how do we check their insurance, make sure that they reach on time, and even help them with the virtual visits if that suits them better. Then labs, prescriptions, medicines, procedure finalization, and then even following up after their treatment is complete. So there's this end to end help and support that we give to the patients. So from, I think, also, again, saying this from the product manager or the product leader perspective here, is that we want to make sure that it becomes super super simple for the patients, so they sometimes don't even get to know that they're interacting with Steer, but they just say that I had an amazing experience, I was taken care of. That's the end thing that we want to hear. And that's how Steer Health is doing a great job, catering the patients, administration staff, everybody.
That's really great. It's truly remarkable how Steer Health is revolutionizing the healthcare landscape by harmoniously blending AI with the personal touch. And it's evident that at the heart of Steer Health lies a commitment to elevating patient experiences. So this naturally leads to us to the next slide, which is culture at Steer Health. So, company culture can provide insights into opportunities for career advancements. So, it helps you identify areas where you can contribute, develop new skills, and take on leadership roles that aligns with the organization's culture and priorities. So, could you share with us the guiding principles and the culture that underpins Steer Health's mission?
Yes, for sure. I think because we are a remote company, and I also say a remotely distributed company, so it becomes all the more difficult to stick to a single culture and a single, vision as well. That's why it's very important that we have some, very clear work style and culture within the way we work on a daily basis. It shouldn't be imposed. It shouldn't be coming, let's say, from leadership, but it should become a part of what everyday people do. And when they wake up and when they join their work, their laptop from wherever they are, they have to stay on the same page in terms of the culture. So what we have learned, and also what we try to imbibe in our everyday work style, is that we always obsess about making our customers happy. We just want to hear good things from them. So we make sure that whatever we do on an everyday basis is only going to result in positive feedback from our clients, and even from our patients, from their patients, our clients' patients. And that's why, because we are a small team also, we make sure that we are maintaining high standards of the work we give, and also taking ownership of whatever we are doing, even if it is a piece in the whole, let's say, Steer Health business. Even if it's a piece, we make sure that we are owning the success of it. We want to make sure that at the end, all of the team members and everybody says that, great job, great product, great work. So we want to hear that. And then I want to focus on the one on the bottom left here, which is learn to understand value and impact versus the trash effort. Sometimes, it's like people are busy, they are clocking in, let's say, 8 hours, 9 hours every day, but they don't understand what effort of the work that they every day they do has some value or impact at the end. So that is something that we keep on talking about, even with each other as friends almost. Let's say maybe in my team, if I see somebody working on something which may not be that valuable, right, I would say that, hey, why don't you spend lesser time on this, and then let's shift to this one, because this is right now a big deal, and it will have more value and impact in the next few months. So we always talk about this very openly, and instead of letting others also, and myself also, let's say, waste time on something that is maybe very menial, or maybe something that does not make any sense in the bigger picture, we say that, okay, let's not stay busy, let's focus on the right things that make sense and that are going to be valuable. So that's super important for us as the part of the steer health culture. I think I've not heard it anywhere in the multiple companies I've worked at, but this is so important. And what we just as I talked about, small teams can move mountains, and we just have already seen that millions of patients that we reach just with a 50 team member company at this point in time. I think we can do a lot. Then we do everything with a certain sense of urgency. It can maybe kind of seed anxiety into some people, but it helps us becoming decisive about something, because not deciding is it's worse than deciding bad, because even if you are failing, you get to know, you understand the risk taking abilities, and then you move on and go for a better path. But if you don't move at all, it's like you are stuck in between and you just don't make any progress at all. So we have to do something right, and we have to be very calculative and have the assessment sense of assessment also, and then keep moving forward. And also being frugal and resourceful, because again, as a startup, it's difficult to have all resources at your hand, so it's important to be resourceful with what you have. And finally, I think having fun, also enjoying the work. I think you might be seeing it from my energy how much I enjoy working at Steer. So I talk always good things about Steer, saying that we are super proud of our product. So having fun and growing myself along with growing the company also is super important. So every team member knows that they are contributing to the big picture, even if it may seem small on an everyday basis work that we get, but we know that it's going to make impact on the patients, on the providers, on the healthcare staff, and also different organizations that we're working with. So I think that's overall the culture, and I hope that gave an idea of how we feel working at SteerHealth.
Right. Yeah, amazing. That's seriously amazing. Like personal growth along with professional growth. That's what all people like die for. Great. So, thanks for sharing the insights about the culture. So, moving to the next slide, core values play a significant role in attracting and retaining top talents. Candidates who align with the company's value are more likely to thrive within the organization and contribute to its success. So, over to you, Shreya. Can you please share about the core values at Steer Health?
Yes, very similar. I think the values and the culture go very hand in hand for us. And again, we obsess a lot about the customers. We obsess a lot about their success. So that's why whatever decisions we make are always customer centric. So that I think it makes our decisions also very easy to make. So that's why the values always start with customer centric approach, and then patient focused design. I want to actually uh, talk more about this one. You'll be surprised to know that Steer Health as a product does not have any product for patients. So we don't ask patients to download anything that, hey, download Steer Health app and you can do this and that. There's nothing involved for patients because we don't want them to learn anything. Okay, so there is a product that exists, but it is behind the curtain so that patients don't have to learn new things, because they are patients. They shouldn't be learning new things at the point where they need other type of help, the healthcare and access that they need. So instead of that, we have made it very respectful and again responsive, to include that, to make sure that we are only using the tools that they already know, for example SMS, email, voice calls, etc. So all of that is automated, but the patients don't get to know that it's automated. It's like something running in the background and making everything as systemized as possible, but without having them learn a new product. So that's the beauty of Steer Health. And it may seem odd, it may seem that we are not bragging about the work we do in front of the patients, but it just works. So that's why it may be sometimes as let's say a product team, it might surprise people that we don't have a product for patients, so they don't have to download and learn anything. I think that speaks a lot about our values as well. And then, of course, we are hungry and scrappy because we are a startup. We have limited resources, we have limited time, we have limited money, also, all of those things. So that's why we are very careful about it. We are resilient because we have failed also. I told you that we work on some initiative, let's say, that may fail in the future, but we have to move forward. So we try it in chunks and in small steps, so that if they fail, we are able to easily retract and then evaluate what went wrong. So that's how we've become resilient towards failure as well. And we are great students and teachers amongst ourselves. We don't care about, let's say, I am above you or below you. That doesn't happen. So even if I need something to learn from, let's say, from the development team, or maybe from the QA team, which is something that I haven't done maybe in my professional experience, we are very open about learning from each other and sharing resources and education with each other as well. And finally, we are extremely grateful for the opportunity we as a team have received to serve the patients, staff, everybody in healthcare. And that's why it's a pride, a feeling of pride that we get working for a product as Steer.
Great. It's very nice to know about these core values of Steer Health. So thank you for sharing the invaluable insights. So let's come to what most of us are waiting to know here, the
Yeah.
hiring process at Steer Health. So in this slide, we'll be discussing about the process involved while you guys are applying, or all the things which will come in process while the interview is aligned. So I think Shreya will be the best person to answer this.
Yes, sure. I think I can just pick, let's say, the name, a hypothetical name of an applicant. Let's say Aniket, because I just saw that on the list of participants. So let's say Aniket is a person who is about to or wanting to join Steer Health, and let's see what Aniket is going to experience here. So let's say, the profile is that of maybe a DevOps engineer, or maybe, let's say, of an SEO expert here in this case. And let's say Aniket came across Steer Health's opening on LinkedIn or maybe somewhere else. And what would happen is that Aniket will send their application to the recruiter. So when they email it on the maybe they email, or maybe they just apply through the portal, and that gets received by our team, the hiring manager, plus also the HR team that we have. So they once they receive it, they will do a quick review whether this is even relevant or not for that certain person. And it's an important learning here because a lot of the applicants get rejected here. Aniket will get rejected here if Aniket is applying for an SEO manager job, and the profile maybe says content writing expert. So even if it is in marketing, even if both the items are in marketing, but it will get rejected because it's not presented according to the job opening that we have, right? So it's very, very important that you align what with the opening of the job role that we have for you. And if you clear that, if Aniket is able to clear that, and then Aniket will get the next step of talking to the recruiter. So that will be the first, clarifying criteria, let's say, where we see that, okay, is this person able to communicate properly? Is this person able to present the work that he's done in the past to the recruiter, and then also translate it into the job role that this person will be taking up in the future? So let's say Aniket is sitting in the recruiter interview. Maybe Aniket will get an email from one of our team members and saying that, hey, you, what's your availability in the next 2-3 days? Are you able to speak? So the responsiveness also is a big factor here. If Aniket is responsive, there will be an interview scheduled very soon. If not, maybe other applicants will be preferred, and they will just get, we will talk to them first. And there is, even if you don't want to be selective, there is a first come first serve basis, because everybody wants to move faster, especially in the startup world. If we are getting better candidates than you, and they are more responsive than you, you will end up not getting contacted and maybe getting even disqualified. So it's important to be responsive to your recruiting manager, whoever is talking to you. And then after the recruiter has cleared that person, and which would be, I would say, I think 25 to 30% people only are able to clear up till this. Let's say there were 200 applications, not more than 40 or 50 will come to this point in time, to the third step. Okay, so we get very vetted profiles. So let's say if it is of an SEO manager, the SEO manager will be getting, the reviews from the hiring manager itself, and then it will be forwarded to the marketing head of that company, or let's say of SteerHealth itself. So when that hiring manager also knows that, okay, this person will be coming to my team and filling a position that we need, right? So that hiring manager will think from their perspective, okay, what do I need, and will this person fit into the current existing team that we have? Let's say there is already a team of 10 people who are in marketing, and the new SEO manager will have to come in and work with them. So they will make sure that this SEO manager, Aniket, if qualifies, is able to work very nicely with the rest of the team also. It's not like hiring manager has to put in all of the efforts to make them mingle and then have productivity in within the team as well. So that's why that is also a good factor that you have to present as a team member, that you are able to work with the rest of the team, you are able to collaborate nicely, you're able to present your thoughts clearly and also receive thoughts very nicely, and create a plan, create some progress as and when things are finalized for the team, what they will deliver. So that needs to be shown also to the hiring manager. And then next step, once that's also, let's say, cleared, the hiring manager likes Aniket, and the hiring manager, she says, okay, I like Aniket's profile. I was able to talk to him. He was very easy to talk to, and he's done similar work in the past, so I think he will fit in at Steer and he will do a good job here. Okay, then what will happen is that the rest of the leaders will say, okay, let's take maybe an assessment and let's see how Aniket does on the assessment that we give him. So let's create a take home assignment for him and then see how he does. So that will also, you will have to be, Aniket has to be responsive for that as well. If you receive your assignment on, let's say, Tuesday, then make sure that by Wednesday you are asking whatever you need to know more about your assignment, and by Thursday, let's say, you are submitting it back, right? So that process needs to happen very quickly also. There are there are other people also who are going with this process, so you have to be faster than them and more efficient as well. So once that's also done, you will be asked to present your take home assignment. Okay, you will be asked to come on a call, present it to, let's say, SteerHealth team. So Aniket has to be on the call. It has to be a nice professional setup, good camera, good internet that you need to have, and then present what work you've already completed. So once Aniket is able to present it, if everybody likes the presentation, if everybody says, Aniket was great, he knows what he's doing, and he will surely help SteerHealth in succeeding at what he's supposed to do here. That's when things get further, and then finally the let's say maybe another round of interview. That's an optional one. The fifth one is mostly an optional one, and then the decision will be made. Then the offer will be given out. We'll talk about the numbers. We'll talk about the references. Maybe somebody from your past experience, your past bosses, or anybody who's able to say a good word about you. Or maybe maybe SteerHealth will ask, okay, I only need it for the last two bosses, not maybe before that. So you have to make sure that even from the past companies where you worked at, you have good relations with them. You don't just leave and do a bad job and leave from there. So you have to make sure that you maintain good relations at your past companies too. Especially in remote, it's very difficult to judge a person in a physical way. So that's why it's important to maybe do a reference check, because that's all that we have to make sure that this person will fit in properly and has a good track record. So we usually do reference checks, and then finally the offer is given, and then a starting date is decided. So that's the entire journey, let's say, of Aniket joining as an SEO manager at SteerHealth. I see Aniket is replying to some messages, but don't take it personally.
That's great. So thank you so much, Shreya, for giving us a glimpse of what the interview process at SteerHealth look like and what to expect. So moving on to the next slide. There is a very common problem that we hear from all the job seekers. They apply to remote jobs, give interviews, but don't know why they don't succeed despite having the necessary qualifications. So, what tips or any resources you would like to share with the people who have joined this session?
Yes, for sure. I think this is going to be actually, as I was talking earlier also, I want this to be the juice of the entire session that we have today. So next 10 minutes will be super helpful for those who are still looking at how to apply for remote jobs. And after this 12 minutes, we will talk about how to apply at the jobs that are open at SteerHealth. So I'll talk about that too. But yes, in general, for a remote job, for those who are still starting off, or maybe you don't have experience in tech, I highly suggest that you have to find the best remote friendly skills that are in the market at this point in time. So maybe you have experience in finance sector, or maybe you have experience maybe in education sector. Try to combine technology with it, and then try to translate that into a remote friendly job role as well. Okay, so that's what you need to do as the first step if you haven't ever worked in a remote style work. So that's the first step, I would say. If we talk about somebody who's extremely at a beginner level, who doesn't know how to find a remote job, this is the first thing that you should do. So let's say I'll give an example also. Let's say you have experience in finance. right? Then in finance, you should be talking to more people who are into fintech sector. Try to ask them what happens differently in finance versus fintech. Try to understand that what are the tools that those people are using which you need to learn if you want to join fintech. So there might be some industry specific roles which are like specific to fintech only, and there might be some important skills that are just general important for tech jobs, right? So you need to learn all of that, and the tech ones I will cover that also in the futures in the further slides today. And then next point is talk about adding value and impact. I think a lot of the people who are giving interviews, they want to talk a lot about themselves. They want to talk a lot about their past experience, but they fail to understand that you are being talked to for a future role at a certain company. So you will have to give value. You will have to add some impact to your role when you join that company. You have to talk about it. Let's say if somebody, Aniket again, maybe applying at SteerHealth as an SEO manager. If Aniket cannot stop talking about his past experience into SEO at other companies, he will not get the job because he's unable to understand that you have to work at SteerHealth. You have to learn about US healthcare. You have to say that, okay, if I join SteerHealth, I want to do this. I will learn about US healthcare first, and then I will do this. I will maybe, maybe pick a target audience of for our marketing campaigns, for our content readers, etc. Then I will do this. So you have to talk about what value you will add. Because you are getting salary not to learn or not to just share what you've learned in the past, but to actually do work at, let's say, Steer Health. So you have to talk about it. You have to share some plans and make the other person visualize how you will fit in. Okay, so you need to talk that language. That's a very important point that I wanted to cover today. Your efforts, whatever work you do every day when you join, it is company's resources. So make sure that you respect it and you talk about that right at the interview stage. And the third point here is that you have to find the right channels for your job applications. A lot of the people just go to random Indeed, Naukri, all of that and apply. I think Uplers is a great platform to apply because there are very specific job roles. The job description is very clear. And then you are able to, just apply to the relevant jobs there. So based on your background, based on where you can add value, again, talking about the second point also, where you're able to add value, try to understand what is the right channel to apply. You shouldn't be throwing your CV in the air because you're disrespecting it. You have to make sure that your profile reaches the right people through the right channel. Don't throw your CV into random platforms. Please don't do that. Instead, reach out to the right people, reach out to the hiring managers, use the right platforms to make sure that your application is reaching the hiring manager through a nice respect in a respectable way where they are able to see your profile and get back to you also. So make sure that you also add your contact details always. It should be a professional email, a nice, maybe a phone number also. It's good to add. And then also, in case of remote these days, also add your country code because people are applying from different countries as well. So make sure that your application is ready to be reviewed by a hiring manager. And then you're able to also pick the right channel where to apply for the job. So these are the top three items I wanted to cover in the how to find your remote job. But I have some more topics. So in case you still have questions, please keep them, keep adding them because I think Divya and other team members from Uplers will be pinning those and will answer those at the end. Yes, and then I also want to cover that, even if it seems like it's not a competitive exam, let's say like maybe, something that we used to do as CAT and all that, it doesn't seem like that, but you are competing with others. So make sure that you know your peers, make sure that you know your competitors, who are the other people who might be applying for this job, who are also, eligible to apply for it. Stalk them, see what is in on their profile, and make sure that you present yours even better than that. So try to do that as well. That's something that people fail to do. They just focus on themselves. They fail to understand that there are other people also that the hiring manager is talking to and you are competing with them. So make sure that you align yourself, your profile in the best way possible with the job description. Okay. And next point is that stay open for contract to hire opportunities, especially after COVID. You will see this term a lot, which is contract to hire, which means that sometimes the opening is only for contractual work, and then you get hired for a full-time job. Let's say after working for 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, could be whatever period that they need to know that yes, you can fit in as an employee. And this has happened with me 2 times. So I will highly suggest, don't underestimate this thing, that contractual jobs are also great. It helps you save taxes also sometimes. So stay open for contract to hire opportunities also. In the beginning, they will maybe pay you on an hourly basis or a weekly or a monthly basis. And then on when you're hired full time, then your contract will be separate, and you will just it will just be as a usual employee. That has been happening pre-COVID also. But yes, contract to open are great. You can, even if there are any contractual jobs that you see at other places, you can ask the employer, okay, is this open for contract to hire or not, because I am looking for a full-time job, but I'm open to work on a contract to begin with. So you can talk about that. This is a, this is becoming an industry standard these days. So be open to this. Sometimes people are like, okay, I only want to be an employee, I want the PF and everything. Sometimes it's not possible in remote style, because a lot of the companies, the startups, outside of India, they don't have enough resources, but they do want to hire Indians. So they will in the beginning do only contractual setup, and then they can maybe set up an entity and do a full-time hire also. So stay open to this for international opportunities. Next one, I think, is talked a lot already by a lot of people, is that make sure that you show consistency with the job responsibilities and also with the company that you're going for. If you have experience, maybe in, like me, in different industries, different work styles, but you want to show maybe B2C or B2B specifically, make sure that you pick that when you're applying to a company. Let's say if you're applying for SteerHealth, make sure that you highlight your B2B experience, right? You talk more about that maybe than the B2C experience that you have. So you have to be very clear about where you are applying and why you should be a fit for that role. So highlight those things more, highlight the work that is written in the job responsibilities of that certain opening, and then make sure that you even talk extensively about it in maybe in your cover letter or maybe in your CV as well. So edit your CV, maybe create 3 4 versions of your CV. One can be for B2B, one can be for B2C, one can be, for example, I do, maybe one can be for healthcare specific companies, one can be for education specific companies. So make sure that you have 3 4 versions of your CV, and you only apply with the relevant one for that job opportunity that you have your eye on. Okay, so that's super important, so that company is able to relate with you. They see, okay, I saw that CV, that was also a similar experience person. They should be able to recall you that way. So you have to make sure that you have different versions and you're able to apply with the relevant one for that certain opening. And another one is that, especially people who are trying to enter into freelancing, don't go for very small gigs. Don't think that, okay, I'm getting a bigger package there, let me go there. Even if the company culture is bad, you're going there just for the package for short term. It will be a headache for long term. And I have been almost in for a decade into the industry now. I can say, especially for new people who just have 2 3 years of experience, they try to look at shiny things and jump there, and then they end up taking more stress than required. So make sure that you are looking for a sustainably feasible remote work style, which will go on for years, not just for 2 months, 3 months. So make sure that you also check background of the company, not just that the company is checking your background. So you can ask questions about the company. You can say, okay, whom am I replacing? Am I replacing somebody, or is this a new role? Ask about that. Why is the previous person going? And what are the team members I will be working with? How big is the team? Where are all of the team members based out of? You should be asking these questions and make sure that you are creating your place in that company for longer term. And that gives you less anxiety and no job hopping, but staying somewhere and making creating value at that place before. And you should feel proud of the work that you are doing at that certain company, right? So before hopping for a better package, instead of that, make sure that you are giving some value to the company that where you're working already. So these are some of the items that I wanted to cover. I want to do 2 points more in depth, but Divya, anything else you want me to cover at this point in time?
No, I think you can continue with this.
Okay, great. All right, so I have a couple of points more. I think mostly I want to cover in depth about the case studies that you should be presenting when you are applying at a company. I think at today's date, in today's age, CV is an obvious one, but cover letter has also become a must-have thing, which has to be personalized based on the job opportunity where you're applying. But case study is, something that very few people are doing, and that can give you a really good edge. So invest some time into creating the case studies of the work experience that you already have. And it need not be a case study from your independent work. It can be with a team also. So you can mention in your case study, I worked in a team of 10 team members, and this was my role. This was, the before, and this was the after. And then what was the process? What, went in for the before to after. So you should be sharing about that too. I've given example of one is for UI UX case study. Let's say maybe Aniket is now a UI UX expert who is wanting to apply at SteerHealth as a designer. So if Aniket is able to give us a case study and showing his work, this is the before and after of another B2B product I made, and right now this product is doing this well. If this is something, something more hands on that we see, we will be more inclined towards seeing Aniket again, maybe versus the other applicants who have not given us a case study. And then another example I've given here is of a project manager. Let's say a project manager has some experience, and maybe project managers sometimes feel that I don't have anything to show. How do I show what I've done? Even if you're able to document it in some way and show a case study, that's also something more hands-on for a hiring manager to see what all you've done in the past. So you can say that it was a small team and I had helped them scale and become an agile friendly team, right? So you can talk about the week 1, week 5, this was my goal and this is what I did, and then week 6 to 10, this is what I did, and then finally it is from here to here, right? And these were the resources I was given. If you're able to show that in a nice way, and today there are different platforms which you can use to present your case study. It can be a simple Google Doc also, it can be Google Slides, it can be a Canva file, it can be maybe a Notion document, which is more interactive maybe than a Google Doc. You can put your case study anywhere and then share it with others. And it can be different case studies. So maybe let's say you have 5 projects in your past. So for B2B, you have 3, and B2C, you have 2. Based on the company that you're applying to, let's say you're applying to a B2C, give your 2 B2C experiences and 1 B2B maybe. So that ways they get a sense of the work that you've done in the past. So that's how you should present the work that you've done in the past and show it with your future hiring managers. So that's one I wanted to cover. And then I have another one that is more for beginners, but yes, let's move on to that one too. Yes, this is another one I want to cover, which is how you should be presenting yourself, also in the interviews, right? You have to prepare. When I talk about preparation, it doesn't mean memorizing the answers. It means what skills you should share with the hiring manager. Let's say again, I want to give an example again of Aniket, who is applying as an SEO expert. Now, Aniket will talk about SEO, of course. Aniket will say, I have done this. This is my case study, and this is as an expert, as an SEO lead, I've managed this team, etc., etc. But if you're able to talk about your broader cross-discipline expertise also, it really adds, because in startups, in smaller teams, you will be talking, maybe coordinating with the other team members also, who are also maybe peripherals of your existing team, but will require some sort of cross coordination. In that sense, T-shaped skills today are very, very important. So it means that you have a broader expertise also, and then a linear expertise into something that is more deep, and you are the expert there. You have an edge over the other people there. So you are not, again, you're not an isolated in a siloed circle somewhere, sitting somewhere, but you also work cross-functionally with other team members, and then you have your own expertise, which can be something that you talk about in more detail. So make sure when you are there on your interviews and even in your CV, etc., you present yourself in this T-shaped skilled person, in which you talk about your skill, but you also talk about the broader skill experience that you have. So on the next slide, I have an example of this one. Yeah. So let's say, again, the SEO expert, actually, I had forgotten, I put this one, but I think it's aligning with the example we've been picking of Aniket. So let's say Aniket is an SEO manager applying again. But if this SEO manager is also able to talk a little bit about the PPC, a little bit about the content marketing, but in depth about SEO, it looks really good. It looks very impressive that you have worked in a cross-discipline team, and then you also have a nice depth into your own skill where you are the expert. So this is how you should present yourself in the way you talk, in the way you talk about your past experience, in the way you talk about your future also. Let's say maybe you're asked, okay, what do you want to do 5 years from now? Where do you see yourself? You can say this out. You can say that I will still hold expertise into SEO, but I will have worked in different departments so that I'm able to oversee the whole thing, and I'm able to lead the marketing team. So you can talk about this. This can be your 5 years from now picture that you can present. So this is what a T-shaped skilled person looks like to a hiring manager. So this is mostly, I think, what all I wanted to cover in terms of how you will be applying and experiencing the whole cycle of job hiring itself. And then also, from the inside perspective, I can say that from SteerHealth's team, this is all that we see. These are the things that we are very critical of. How good are your communication skills? Have you ever worked in a tech company before? If not, then how long will it take for you to fit in? So maybe we can actually move to the next slide and we can see what are the broader skills that are required for remote work in general, not just at Steer, but in general. You should be presenting this. So you should be able to tell that you have worked on your communication skills and also the tools these days that are used. So including Jira, let's say Teams, Slack, these are the basics these days. You have to be knowing these. And maybe if you've worked with companies in the past that work out of just Skype, maybe try to at least make your own account on Teams and Slack, etc., and see how it works. You can watch YouTube videos. You can just try it out yourself. It's not rocket science. So you should be knowing these basic tools these days if you want to work in a remote work style in the future. And then basic technical skills, knowing to use how to use Google Meet, how to use Zoom. These are very, very basic. And if you're able to, maybe have an edge on the use cases, let's say today I just learned that I can get remote control also of switching the screen. So these are the things that you build on the top of these basic technical skills. So you keep learning, keep observing, see what other people are doing, see, learn from your friends also. Maybe they're working at some other companies. Try to ask them small questions. Okay, what tools do you use for communication in your company? Is it Skype? Is it Slack? What do you do? Can you show me how maybe your Zoom different account is different? Maybe it's a business account. How what other apps do you use in Zoom? So try to ask all of these questions from others also, and then keep learning. And then teamwork and collaboration is underrated skill that we have, is that you need to learn how to fit into an existing team. So when you join a company, you are not going to work independently. It doesn't matter how good of an SEO expert you are. If you are not able to fit into the team, you are a failure. Okay, you will be kicked out very soon. So in remote, hiring managers have lots of options, and even employees may have lots of options, but it's good to have a long-term relationship with the company you want to work for. So make sure that you are going to fit in a team. So ask questions about how does the team currently work? What is their work style? What timings do they work in, right? Let's say maybe they are a remotely distributed company, and maybe they are working out of different time zones. So try to ask these basic questions. Okay, what do they usually fear? What are your current, maybe priorities as a team right now? Because if I go in and join that team, I need to know what they're currently working on, right? So ask these questions. And then next is sense of prioritization. I picked this one. I wanted to mention this because this is actually a skill that we've seen a lot of the people fail at recently, especially after the remote culture has come in, which is people are unable to, there's a lot running, especially if you're on Slack, if you're on different groups within your company, you will see so many things running in parallel. But you have to pick the right thing that you should be focusing more on and talk to your manager about it, talk to your team about it. Say that, okay, I'm planning to focus more on this for the next week. Is this fine, or do you want me to focus on something else? Is there another burning issue at this point in time? You have to ask, you have to tell. Without communication, it won't work, right? So you have to prioritize your own work. There's no boss sitting on the top of your head these days in remote companies who will be telling and asking you, okay, what did you work on today? That's why you need to know what all you need to prioritize. And then you have to be self-motivating, because, and again, in remotely distributed teams, it's hard to talk every day about the work that we've accomplished. So you have to motivate yourself. You have to make sure that you look at the numbers, maybe if that's what motivates you. You look at your team's progress, maybe whatever motivates you, you have to find that and make sure that you stick to that and keep reflecting on your work, almost maybe every week or every day, whatever works for you. And then time and self management, you have to make sure that you are taking care of the time and efforts you are putting in, because that's a cost to the company. It's a part of the CTC that we say, the time that an employee is clocking in, what all are you accomplishing in that time. It doesn't mean you have to sit for 9 hours, 8 hours every day to work, but it means that you have to make sure that you're respecting the time that you're putting in and put it to the right cause. It shouldn't be random manual work that you are doing and it's not adding to your team or to the overall work that you do. And then make sure that you have a proper work environment, especially if you're remote. You need to have a good internet, you need to invest in a good mic, you need to invest in good headset, and your good, laptop, well functioning laptop, etc. Have the right tools, let's say, Canva, whatever you need to install. Also make sure that it's all ready and set, so that at any point in time, if you are supposed to be coordinating with your team members, you have everything on your system. So make sure that you have a nice and comfortable workstation, if you're wanting to work in the remote work style. So these are the broad topics also I wanted to cover, which sometimes people forget to talk about.
Yes, thank you so much, Shreya. That's a gem of advice to all the job seekers. And I would urge all those people who are looking for jobs, please make a note of it and for your future applications. And possessing strong remote work skills is essential for thriving in today's dynamic and increasingly digital work landscape. So, yes, let's move to the next slide. Which is open job roles. So a lot of people had questions about the available roles. So in this slide, basically we have two sections, which is active jobs, are the ones which are open at SteerHealth at this point in time, and passive roles are the ones which can be open at any point in time in the near future. So currently they are not hiring for it, but it's very likely that in the upcoming quarters or things it will be there. So over to you, Shreya.
Yes, so yes, again, this is an opportunity for those who are already looking for jobs. And even if it is a passive role, if we come across great people, great profiles, we are good to move forward. Right now, maybe that we haven't posted it publicly, but internally we may be talking about it. That's why we post this, and especially Uplers has got an insight into what can be upcoming in the future. But yes, these are the active roles: data visualization expert. We need to create the dashboards of the data that we collect from our, let's say, from the healthcare providers, etc., how the product is performing. Then we need client success managers who have worked maybe in the US healthcare itself in the past, who can help with our US clients and maintaining good relationships with them. And then we need DevOps expert, which can be based out of anywhere in the world. Anything works. And then passive jobs, maybe in the future, maybe if we get some good applicants, then project manager and product manager, to make sure that our product is performing well, we are keeping a tap on the progress of the different initiatives we have running, etc. So these are the passive jobs that we have open.
Great. So with this, we are done with the floor for Q&A. So yes, we already have few questions with us. So let's start with this because we have just 5 minutes with us. So yes, um, so Shreya, as you are working in product domain, so anybody who is not from a product background and wants to start their career in product management, so how can they do that? Is it necessary to have that qualification about it, or it's like we can do it like that?
Right. So for product job, I highly suggest, usually the role, the transition, how it happens is that nobody who is a fresh graduate comes into a product management role. That is rarely a scene. So I haven't witnessed it, honestly. They might be into associate roles, or maybe in very big companies where they have huge product teams, and maybe there are 50 product managers, and out of that 2 or 3 are just fresh graduates. But usually you do need experience. And what kind of experience, I'll tell about that too. So usually it is good to have something within, let's say, a development team. If you have experience working with development teams itself, and also if you have experience working in the roles where you are more customer centric, where you understand what is the behavior of the industry, what are the customers, they are, how are they reacting, what are they picking these days. You're able to digest it and then create solutions for that. That's the role of a product manager. So if you have any experience along these roles, you can actually slide into product management and slowly create your career there. I hope it helps.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Thanks for answering that. So yes, we have another question, which is um, what is like the most virtual interview mistakes that people do while giving interviews for a remote company?
I think the most mistakes I've seen is that they underrepresent the work they've done, and they forget to stick to the job opportunity that we have for them. So even if they have work in the different domains, it's good to share that, but not only talk about it. So it's important to learn about the opening, what will be expected of you when you join, if you join. So it's important to talk about that, visualize that scenario, and make the hiring manager also visualize how it will be working at, let's say, the opening for that certain role. So it's, I think that is a mistake which almost disinterests the person when they're hearing just, let's say, the applicant only talking about their past experience, not sharing some ideas, fresh ideas, questions, etc., and talking about their future just about the past. So I think that is something that people can do better.
Right. Thank you. So we have another question, which is for data visualization, which tools are you guys using currently?
So currently we are working on Looker. We are working on that tool called Looker, which is a product, I think, by Google. So we are working on that one. We have tried different other visualization tools also, but mostly we have Mongo database. So anything that works with that works for us. We just need to make sure that it's compatible with the different data streams that we have. One is MongoDB, that's our own database, but then we have EHR data also coming in, and we have third-party data also coming in. So it just has to make sense to put that visualization. Yeah.
Okay. So, what is your perspective on the future of healthcare technology in India?
I think Indian government really needs to gear up. I think that they need to standardize the patient data collection. That's what they need to do next, and that will actually help all of the systems, all of the stakeholders, the government itself, and then the healthcare providers, the administration, the patients, of course, as well. Because if it is standardized and it's, there is lesser room for error, and then there's more context to the patient health, to the patient history also. The patients are kept up to date about their conditions. So there's so much more personalization that we can add in the healthcare domain for the patients. But that does require some sort of data protection and standardization that we need to add. So government needs to gear up on that. And there are initiatives running also, because I recently had a chance to catch up on what's happening there. So there are some initiatives running, but I think it'll still take 4 to 5 years at least to see any big change that patients can actually see.
Okay. Um, okay, one more question, which is what steps have you taken to promote work-life balance among remote employees?
So I think for the remote work life, it is important that we respect all time zones. So we make sure that we have clear out of office days for each other also internally. Let's say maybe I am currently, for 1 hour I was out of office. So I make sure that I update my team so it becomes flexible for me also. And then in remote work, it's you are not just absent. Let's say in an office, people don't see you. It means you're not there. But maybe right now in a remotely distributed team, it's expected that you are online at certain hours and that you are there for all of the meetings. So we make sure if we are absent, we update our team in a certain way, which is easy for the person who is going to be absent, and it's easy for the other people also to see. So these are some important things that we've done. And then we also make sure that we share all of the resources, let's say within for internal education. We share all of those resources and keep a central repository of those resources. So let's say I have questions about the other team and maybe they're working in some other time zone, I can go to the central knowledge base and get information out of that instead of waiting for them to come online. So these are some of the steps we've taken internally, but it just comes out of, I think, more out of the experience and what all problems we face, and then we try to find solutions for it.
Right. So there is one question Aniket has asked. I would love to know a bit about adoption of steer notes. I have previously worked for a product in mental healthcare space for US market. What my learning was that clinicians were not too excited about adopting a new product because they already have their workflow defined and they are not inclined to adopt new IT tech very easily.
Yes, that is actually the biggest challenge at this point in time for health tech. Is that healthcare providers sometimes they are just too stubborn with their conventional setup. They are like, we don't want change. Things are working fine. We don't need anything. So they just say no without even seeing it. But they forget that tech has opened up rooms not just to replace the manual work that is being done, but also things that cannot even be done manually. So let's say sending reminders to all the patients about their upcoming appointment, that will help them reduce no shows for them, right? So we just have to make sure that we speak their language. and we don't talk more about, okay, we use AI, we use tech. We try to not talk about that. We just say, okay, this is a problem, we can solve that. Okay, we don't have to intimidate them with tech and with the changes that we will be making when we come in. So we try to speak their language, we try to just try to understand their problems and share solutions and brainstorm with them instead of just throwing our product at them. That's how it is working for us.
Yes. So with this, I think we should end this session. So yes, thank you so much, Shreya, for your insights. Your insights have been invaluable, and we want to express our sincere gratitude for generously sharing your time to contribute to the growth of our community. We truly appreciate your efforts. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me, and thanks everyone for joining and making it so interactive.
Great. So for our joiners, we have some upcoming steps, and we'll be communicating all the details with you through WhatsApp and our social media channel.
Mhm.
So so the for the people who are not on our Discord can just join our Discord through the link shared in the chat box. And I'm sure for the people who have not received their answers, we'll share the Discord community link with Shreya too, and she'll try to join that community, and you can ask your questions there. She'll be more than happy to answer that. So for the upcoming sessions, you can register on Uplers website, and also you'll find many job roles open for you guys also. The open positions from SteerHealth are also there on our website, and you can also visit SteerHealth career page for that. And thank you so much. Stay tuned for the updates, and we eagerly anticipate hosting more sessions and reconnecting with you guys in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.